Everybody? Welcome. Doing another live stream with today with Lofas Crypto tonight. Got some big news to share with you guys about Cardano ADA. Some interesting price action tonight. How you doing, Lofas?
Hi, everyone. Doing fantastic. Doing really well. What a day it was. All driven by Fed Powell. So I'm sure we'll get into it.
I'm sure that was the dam that was blocking things up over the last few weeks that we were waiting for, or a sort of an open signal, a signal to proceed. And it seems like the floodgates are starting to open again.
I think that's a pretty good assessment. I mean, I think it was definitely one of those significant floodgates. I think the market had already priced in 50 basis points. The way I think about it is I think they were thinking that it could go as 75, right? There was some talk of 75 basis points. But I think the moment that Fed Powell said, hey, this is 50, they're like, I think the market said, all right, that's already priced in. They didn't think there's going to be anything more. And then very interestingly enough, right? I mean, you saw the Dixie all of us start bouncing back. I think it's in, where is it now, at 102? We've talked about that several times, right? Like it's just overbought, overheated. I think that the 10-year yield did something very similar. So I think that's doing a little bit of retracement there as well. So, and I'll be frank with you, I didn't see that much action in gold and silver, which I think is a little bit positive. I think the only thing that really popped was oil, for whatever reason. But crypto, perfect, perfect, right? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think Cardano, it's actually outperforming the rest of the market right now. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
because of a multitude of factors, all the things that we've been talking about in the live stream from this morning, from last night, from a couple of nights ago. It was just all of those things. Each of those things was another stepping stone, another stepping stone, another stepping stone to where we are right now. And all the pressure that has been building up has now been able to release a little bit. I don't think we're seeing the end of it yet, but there's only one way to find out. We have to continue watching things carefully and monitoring things. And I have fun doing this. A lot of people ask me, how do you do this? You know, it's a 24/7 thing. I like being connected. I like seeing what's going on in the news. I like keeping track of the macro. I like being in contact. So all of this to me is very exciting. It's been a rough ride all the way down, and I think it's going to be a fun ride back up. It's not guaranteed that this is the turnaround point, but the longer it goes, the more likely it becomes that we're at a turning point. We won't know for certain when things are, but you know, the way things look right now, it's a strong move, and it's showing a lot of strength, a lot of demand. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like a false signal, although we won't know for a couple of days. But the signal is definitely extremely strong, lots of volume, and it's happening. It's being sort of happening over time as opposed to all at once. So it's only been a day. We just had the daily candle closed 5 minutes ago. So we're going to jump into the charts in a little bit. But before we get started, a couple of quick announcements. So, by the way, Lofus, so what were your thoughts on the federal meeting today? Did you hear anything in particular? I didn't really listen to it, but I was paying attention to the market action right around that time. Did you hear anything, or was there anything that you thought was important to bring up from the federal perspective?
Not really. I mean, there was, I mean, I just looked at the basis points, right? I was just very keen to see what they're going to say. Right. So I think that was the one. And then I think then they were just talking about QT, right? So instead of easing, now they're talking about, pulling back a little bit, right? That monthly spend, right? So that's that monthly boost. But when you really look at it as a relative term, right? I mean, I think the official number is what, like 125 billion a month. And I think they're going to pull that back into the 90s or so. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't had a chance to go through all the details, but when I look at that, I don't think the markets overall really cared that much. So for me, that was fine. And yesterday or so, we went, S&P went a little bit close to 4,000, and right now it's pumped by, and now it just jumped back into 4,300. So yes, did it break through that 4,150 number that you and I were talking about the other day as a resistance or support level? Yes, but it ended the day at 4,300. I think that's just very good. So it was, like I
Yeah.
said, great day.
Yeah, a good day, a great day amongst a very bad, couple of months, but it's always welcome to see a green day. So,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
couple
And
of
then,
announcements.
yeah, so let's do one thing, right? You said let's jump into the charts. One thing we should all pay attention to is let's look at the volume profile that happened today with Cardano. Let's make a note of
Yeah,
that.
precisely. So the CardanoGuy.com is now open for business. You can go there to get your free reports. Every week, every month, I write a few reports. The last report I wrote was 60 pages. Basically, I'm like the Plato of Charles Hoskinson. I'm writing down all of his lectures, all of his works in text, and I'm archiving it. I'm also highlighting everything and creating summaries for easy reading and enjoyment, as well as learning. So be sure to go over to the cardanoguy.com, get your first 3 free reports on me. And also, we've got the Cardano Guy merch. It's actually just Cardano merchandise. If you go to the cardanoguy.com/merch, you can see we've got tons of color options. Get your Cardano shirts for Consensus 2022. And yeah, there's lots of color options, pretty simple designs. If you have any requests for designs, make sure you let me know in the comments. Cool. So that's it for the announcements. Also, I'm doing a free t-shirt giveaway. If you're interested in a free t-shirt giveaway, be sure you're following me on the Cardano Guy, at the Cardano Guy on Twitter, as well as Mustafa Coin on Twitter. Follow Low Fuss Crypto at Low Fuss Crypto. And if you're on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. So the reason why I think what we're seeing right now that is happening is because of Cardano, primarily because of Cardano going mainstream. Okay, as we can see, we're starting to see a confluence of events happening in all areas of Cardano, in development, in all areas, especially in marketing. Right. So now we see Cardano in the news, Fox News, Fox Business News, Financial Times. We saw Cardano in the Financial Times recently. Snoop Dogg, Frank Medici, all of these mainstream. And also, I also found that Big Pay here says that he was at a gas station in Florida and he was pumping gas and saw on his screen, on the TV screen, Cardano being advertised with the Claymates and Snoop Dogg. Not only that, another person, one of my followers commented and said, I saw the same ad. So it tells me that Cardano is doing something right. Something is changing and we're going mainstream. What do you think about all of that, Low Fuss? Interesting stuff, huh?
Extremely interesting things. Couple of things, right? And I think I'm glad you brought this up because we didn't talk about this the other day. Like Uncle Charles with the eToro co-founder, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, eToro US has not been very kind, and I think they've been very, very. They've been playing some tricky, dirty games, right? But that's interesting that there's a picture of those two. But here's what I really liked is I got a chance to watch the Maria interview, and first minute or so, I think it was the first 2 minutes. It kept saying Ethereum co-founder, right? And that's what was the name under Charles. And I loved it how when I think he really started getting into it, then it was Cardano founder, So they finally got it. Like that to me was a pretty
Well,
epic moment.
he wrote to them. He tweeted at them. I think during the interview, he said, "Come on, guys, get this effing right." And the
Oh,
whole
that was in
entire
me. Oh,
community,
really? Interesting.
the whole entire Cardano community ratioed Financial Times on Twitter, and it was a sight to be seen. So they changed after that. So it's good that we're part. We run Twitter. Cardano runs crypto Twitter. It's that
We are
simple.
pretty act. Yeah, we are pretty active. That is for sure. Oh, I didn't realize that. So I know I saw that like Charles tweeted that. I didn't know that was like in during the during his actual
If it
interview. And
wasn't
that's what
during, it was right around at the same time, because I remember seeing it the first tweet after that had happened, and I tweeted back at them, and I wrote, and I have my followers liked my comment, and that got raised up in the rankings and everything, so they see this stuff, and it's really important nowadays to have a good Twitter sort of reputation. As you can see, it's probably now the more trusted social media of the others. And so now, if you don't have a good reputation on Twitter, it's the real truth. It's like you're standing there naked, and
hmm
you're everyone can see everything on Twitter. It's very public. There isn't, shadow banning, or, I made a joke the other day. A bunch of Republicans came out and were saying that the day after Twitter, Ted Cruz tweeted it out. He said the day after that Twitter uh, was bought by Elon Musk, he posted his social blade stats, and it was showing he was having 1,000 followers a day. And then all of a sudden, on the day that it went to 70,000 followers a day, simply the day after, and he was saying proof that I was shadow banned. So I commented back and I said I was having 100,000 followers a day on average. And then the day after Twitter was bought by Elon Musk, I went to 1 million followers a day on average. Proof that I'm being shadow banned. So yeah, it's crazy. And when I saw this picture of Elon, what am I saying, Elon, Charles Hoskinson with the eToro guy, I said, oh, looks like somebody made up and got back together. And I think, someone looks very happy to be, or they both look very happy to be together again. So I hope they're on good terms. And, I think that has something to do with it. I mean, like I said, it can't be just one thing, right? I
hmm
think the Federal Reserve announcement was the major sort of block, but behind that block there was a bunch of other events that confluenced that were causing all this pressure in a bubble, and
hmm
the Federal Reserve took the lid off of it, right? So again, it's not guaranteed we're going to continue to go up from here, but the move today was very convincing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens over the next couple of days. We'll jump over into the charts in here in a second.
Yeah,
Uh,
let me say another thing
yeah,
regarding the markets. I mean, I think
yeah,
the other thing that to me is promising, right, is we've had all the, you and I talked about, or at least I definitely shared my thoughts that there's a lot of prancing around by Western politicians in Ukraine, right? Last week, I think there was even people from the U.S. administration, from the defense side, and then Nancy Pelosi was over there, right? Was it yesterday or the day before? So, if Nancy Pelosi is walking around in Ukraine, then I'm going to start thinking that we're getting closer and closer, right? And then here's another interesting thing. Um, I was looking at this, I was looking at my son's portfolio, right? Because I'm trying to teach him, right? He's like, he just became a teenager, and I think it's a really critical skill for one to master, right? Crypto and trading, and his airline stocks were doing really well yesterday,
hmm,
right? And then today, when I went and I was at the bagel store to pick up some food, I saw it on the news, right? Local news. Airline, right? So air travel to Europe predicted to increase 600% versus year over year. So I'm like, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Right? The stocks pump. Next day, you start telling the retailer, you start telling everyone, like, oh, air traffic is back. We're going to have a fantastic summer. And I'm going, all right, so you got Pelosi, you got the airlines, transportation stock pumping, and now you got all this wonderful hopium, right? That during the summer everything's gonna be back to normal. So today was, like you said, very very interesting, right? Very very it's
yeah,
a
and it's such
different
a it's
time.
just a relief after hearing some of the most aggressive FUD that I have seen since I've gotten into crypto. I'm not joking. I've been in crypto since 2017, and I've seen
hmm
some FUD. And the FUD that I've seen over the last few days, especially yesterday, was some of the most extreme FUD I've ever seen. Okay, we're not out of the bear yet, I don't think. Or we may
hmm
have never gone into a bear in the first place. I mean, it depends how you define bear. But wherever we are, it's not worth for people to be fudding so hard. It seems like they are working diligently to scare people. They're not even, why would anyone for their own health try to scare, or make you scared or get you out? Like the smartest people are telling you to hold, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what it's interesting, right? Like, so you say you got the sentiment that yesterday was a very strong day of FUD.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday was also yesterday was also the day that I tweeted 3 times, with using a going shopping or someone went shopping because I saw huge outflow of BTCs from exchanges.
Uh-huh.
It was a very strong day of red. 3 times. It was like 4,000 BTC, and I think the highest was 7,000, and it was Coinbase and mainly Coinbase and Gemini, right?
Interesting.
So I thought that was very interesting, right? So that's why I was like, even yesterday I just went shopping myself.
You made a good choice, I
Yeah.
think. We haven't changed our opinion since we started doing these live streams, and
No,
we
no,
just
no, 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 no,
we're
no. I mean,
grinding
I'm
it
not
out.
too. And listen, once we
This
look
is
at,
the battle
yeah,
we've chosen to shoot
yeah,
to
and then
fight.
and then I'm telling you, go take a look at, once we get to the charts, let's look at the daily volume and compare Cardano versus competitors in BTC. And you tell me what trend you saw there.
Definitely, definitely. So the other day marks the birth of Jed. Jed is the Cardano stable coin, the official Cardano stable coin. And Jed is issued by Koti. We talked about Koti on our last live stream. It was 19 cents. It was 19 cents. Today, Cardano and Koti both moved up about 15% each. And so it's no coincidence that Jed had just been announced, and this sort of move happens shortly after that. We sort of
Yeah, did it
had this
go
discussion
public nest?
about, say
Did it
again?
go in the public? Did it go in the public nest?
It's in a test
The
net,
net,
but
net.
the contract is available for people to look at. So it's,
Well, I thought it
if
was
you're
already
a
on the
venture
internet.
capitalist and you're waiting for evidence, this is the most evidence you're going to get right now. The actual
Okay.
contract is available to look at. So even if they didn't launch it, somebody else could take the code and launch it themselves. So that's
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, it's open source. That's the thing about Cardano is they don't have any patents. They don't have any of those kinds of things. Trademarks, maybe a few trademarks, but the patents themselves are not on the research that they did or the build or the code that they've developed. It's all there out in the open for everybody to see. And Charles Hoskinson is an open source kind of guy. And I think that that's the way it should be. If the internet protocol was not open source the way it is, we wouldn't have internet. People wouldn't be able to just go and build whatever they wanted on the internet. So if people start to try to hide their code on blockchain, it won't survive. It won't survive. It won't be sustainable. And Cardano is all about sustainability. So Jet is out. That's another huge sort of news. We talked about that the other day. And of course, there's Financial Times. So back to some of the other points that I wanted to make here before we get back into, we're going to get into the charts here, but there's tons and tons of news to share. And I didn't even have time to pull up the articles or the tweets about them. So I'll just go over them sort of in a dialogue. We have the Marlowe smart contracts sort of drag and drop development builder, smart contracts financial builder. So it's like a website builder, but it's sort of a drag and drop. Think of like a drag and drop website builder. You don't need to code. It's a no code website builder. This is a no code financial smart contract builder. Imagine you want to have me and you, Lofas, you want to loan me $1 million at 3% or whatever. And we can do that now. You and I can go on Marlowe, go on there, whip up a financial contract through the drag and drop builder, and we can issue that on the Cardano blockchain. And I put up collateral and you put up the money. And if I don't pay you, you get the collateral, and it's automatic. We don't have to think about it anymore. We don't even have to talk after that. Mm-hmm. But you can do that now. And it's becoming easier and easier for developers to come in and to just build whatever they want. Just like I built a website in a very short period of time because I used the drag and drop page builders, and they were great. They're flawless. I don't need any code. And so I think anybody, if you lower the bar for being able to build these kinds of things, you're going to attract a lot more innovation. You're going to attract a lot more creativity. You're going to attract a lot more ideas, a lot more people to the ecosystem. And it's one of the smartest moves that I think Cardano has done, is now you're giving people power to be able to create smart contracts without necessarily needing all that Haskell FUD is going to go out the window. No one can say it's too hard. You have a drag and drop builder. You can build financial contracts on that. There's nothing better than that. So we're literally being spoon fed these wonderful inventions. And these are all the things that people may not realize the potential of these right away. But I'm telling you right now, I see the potential in this. And the value in this is the same kind of value that existed when WordPress came out and people started having their own websites. Like, think about that. It's pretty significant, that jump from being, not even able to do anything with Cardano to now having anybody learn in a short period of time how to build a smart contract. That's pretty significant, and long-term implications of that are immeasurable, in my opinion. What do you think about that?
No, I'm with you, and I actually did look into Marlowe, so I thought that was pretty impressive. And I think what I'm looking forward to hearing is a couple of really strong use cases that the community and perhaps even the press is going to be able to then showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that could be with someone who has really strong PR. And I think if that happens, I think it's going to be fantastic, because I think Marlowe is very powerful, and I really like your example of how in the earlier days that tool that you mentioned changed website building as well. Because I think
Yeah.
when you put it that way, it really makes it easy for even just for anyone coming into the crypto world to understand what you're meaning, right, and what the impact could be. So no, it's going to be
Effectively, it makes Cardano the easiest blockchain to build on.
mm-hmm,
It went from
mm-hmm,
being the most complicated and scientific and advanced technical to the simplest, easiest, and dumbest down to
yeah,
essentially overnight. So the implications of that are very, 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 very major, very significant.
right,
Um,
right,
it's and now we also have the Vassal hard fork coming up in June, which is going to increase the speed of transactions. There's also some advancements that are happening with the way that they're going to increase parallelization, meaning that the blockchain will be able to basically multitask or multi-threaded sort of block propagation. There's so many things that are people just don't quite grasp yet because it's hard to understand it. But that's why I created the cardanoguy.com reports, because if you read those reports, you start to understand these things slowly but surely. So we also have, the Wing Riders application with USDC and USDT wrapped on ADA on Cardano, Melcometa as well, bringing stable coins on to from a bridge as well, and lending and borrowing protocols. I mean, I could go on and on, but I think I think I made the point. I think I made the point that this train is not stopping anytime soon.
nope, it's not.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's jump in the charts. I'm actually just pulling up some charts right now. Let me share it. And which chart do you want to look at first?
Whichever you want.
All right, let's start with ADA BTC because that's the big boy right now. And reason why I wanted to look at that is because here's the daily chart. I'm going to zoom out to where we were at the peak. We were at the peak in September of 2021, and we were at 6,230 Satoshis. We have been working our way down, grinding down for how many months has it been? September to September, it's a year. It hasn't been quite a year since then, but it's been a significant amount of time. Let's measure.
8 months.
Yeah, 8 months. So we've been grinding down for 8 months now. We've seen pump and dumps here along the way. We've seen dead cat bounces, dead cat bounce here, dead cat bounce here. So Could this be another dead cat bounce? Yeah, it definitely can. But it's good to know that there's definitely still demand being called for Cardano. Now, if this trend goes the way that I sort of am forecasting, I said before, we could see 300% returns versus BTC. Now, Cardano versus Ethereum is the more interesting chart that I'm looking at here. Same picture, different coin. So, will Cardano outperform Ethereum in the long run? I think definitely. But in the short run, we are starting to see a little bit of price action going on here from since today's move after the FOMC meeting. So that's ADA BTC, which is an ADA ETH. And that tells you sort of where Cardano is in terms of the grand scheme of things, in terms of the rest of the sort of where it stacks up against the rest of the crypto markets. I also have another chart that I look at to compare, and it's comparing dominance of the top coins. So looking at this, we can see that over the last let's look at the last 3 months here. Over the last 3 months, the three chains that have sort of been intertwined with each other, Cardano, Solana, and Luna. And Cardano sort of peaked up here, started kind of grinding down while these two guys sort of are hovering. But now you can see here that Cardano is starting to, just over the last few hours, you can see that Cardano is really starting to catch up to the big boys again. It's starting to surpass, starting to take over again, as you can see. In terms of comparison, this is Solana, this is Luna, and this is Cardano, and they're all sort of intersecting, but you can see Cardano's starting to shoot back up here. So doesn't mean anything for the long run. No. Doesn't mean anything for the short run. It doesn't really mean anything. This is just forecasting, and we're just sort of speculating dubiously here. So, don't make any decisions off of this stuff, but it's fun to look at. We also have, I think really that's all I wanted to look at as far as Cardano. Bitcoin and the others are pretty much comparable, but Cardano is outperforming the rest of the others. That's the point that I wanted to make with this chart here. Mm-hmm. Now, if we go back to the chart layout that I was looking at before, we can see here Bitcoin's been sort of struggling to get out of this range here, but it had a good green day breaking out of this sort of wedge, this falling wedge here. Mm-hmm. So doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any implications of whether it's going to continue or not, but we'll be watching that and monitoring it for you guys. Let's look at some macro stuff. Let's look at
hold on, before you do that.
Yeah.
Can you go back? So just very quickly. So what you have in there, what's that time frame right now? So
this is the daily. We're looking at the daily.
Okay. So daily since, so can you just zoom out a little bit, maybe include like February?
Sure.
So I think
February. It would be even better to look at the weekly even. So this is
daily. I want to make
prefer the daily. Okay, let's look at the daily then. The daily in February. So here's March. So here's all of 2022. So 2022 begins where my mouse pointer is.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So this is BTC, right? So take a look. Let's look at the volume, right? All right. So on BTC the volume is nicely it climbed up, right? But nothing.
It's been pretty flat the whole way. We've been accumulating in this range for a year, for the entire year.
Right. Let's look at ADA comparatively speaking.
Yeah. So here's ADA USD, and you can see here that ADA has been sort of grinding down in this channel for since November, since September, and where we are now, we're again, it's nothing significant here. I'm not seeing anything. The thing that I look at with volume is I look to see if the volume spikes on a breakout. If it spikes on a breakout, it's more valid.
Exactly.
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to see here that did it spike on this breakout? Yes, it did. Does it mean that it's a valid breakout? We won't really know till tomorrow, but it's more likely that it is valid than not, simply because of the volume profile. But it's speculation. It's not a science. It's more of an art.
What did Ethereum do? What did
Ethereum USD. Same thing.
Okay.
We see a little bit of a break on a little bit of a higher volume, it's not again, it's not indicative of continuation, but if we start to see volume increasing day over day as price goes up, that makes it more and more and more valid. So with each day
And
of increasing volume and increasing price, that validates the trend more and more. So for those who are still sitting on the sidelines, this is not enough of a signal for you to jump right in, although it's just a higher, you can do it, it's just a lot higher risk. The risk here is higher, but so is the reward. So you have to look at it that way. The longer you
and,
wait, the less the reward, but the lower the risk as well.
and what about the Soluna Vex category?
Well, you have Solana USD, which did the same
See,
thing.
nah, but
And
look at that. It's not as pronounced as ADA or even Ethereum.
well,
You
yeah,
see
if
that?
you look at, right,
Versus
exactly.
like what has been happening the last couple of weeks. That's really what I'm trying to look at. Like
Yeah.
ADA to me is still the one that popped a little bit more versus let's say the last couple of like a week or so, right? From the trend. So that was Sol. Do you have Luna or Avex in
Yeah.
there?
So I have these. Well, AVAX is on this chart too. Um, you can actually see AVAX here had a good day as well. Everything pretty
Mm-hmm.
much had a good day, right? But which one had the best day? It's harder. I think Cardano.
I
Uh,
think Cardano.
yeah.
I think it's
If you just
Cardano
if you
for sure.
simply go to if you simply go to CoinGecko, you'll see Cardano had I think a stronger day than the others. You can see Cardano had in the last. We just need to look at the 24-hour return. Cardano has a 17% day versus Solana with 8.5%. So Cardano's outperforming its next, and Luna's only 5% on the day. So Cardano's 3 times greater in performance today than Terra and Solana. But that doesn't mean that Cardano. It doesn't mean that the others won't catch up. It's just that they take turns pumping usually. But no, it's a good sign that to see Cardano moving up 17% in a day. It just shows that demand is still in the air. So
Yeah. Because
it's
the other one that the only one that put in a little bit of nice volume was Algo, which is, safe to say that it's an ally.
so here's Algo USD on the chart, and they all pretty much did the same thing, right? Like little spike, little
Yeah.
volume spike, but some outperformed others. The other chart that I look at usually to get a good read on the markets is I like to look at the total crypto market. It's the volume profile is not as clear on here, but you can see the break is definitely clear. There's no doubt that this is a breakout. Whether it's a valid breakout or not, we won't know until we start to see the price climbing again with increased volume, right? We could see this thing go up and then come back down, as we've seen all year. So again, dubious speculation. I just think it's fun to keep track of these things. We can look at the macro picture, which I think is a little bit more important. So we can look at the S&P. I actually prefer to look at things like this. If we take a look at the asset class comparison, we can see the performance of each asset class. So we can see here that Bitcoin USD from December to today is actually down 32%. And so is the total crypto market cap. NASDAQ's down 18%. SPX is down 9%. Gold is up only about 3%. The Dixie is up almost 7%. And oil is up 43% since December. Right. So if you look at it like that, it's a little bit easier to get a feel for what's going on. Now, yields, on the other hand, are also ridiculously outperforming everything else, as we've seen. So you have your bonds, you have your 30-year yields just going parabolic, 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 right? Every single one. What's interesting though is the bond price themselves are actually tanking. The price of the bond itself is actually flat or going down, but the yields are going up crazy. I'm not a macro expert, so I have no idea what the implications of something like that are. But money is flowing right now, hopefully, out of the top asset classes. As you can see, as you zoom in a little closer, you can see that it's even when you zoom in close, you can see that the dollars are really at the top here. So the most important thing to be looking at the moment are the Dixie, right? So you have the Dixie has actually, this is what I've been tracking all day. It's actually been tanking. So if things continue up, we'll probably won't see this. If things continue for the Dixie up, we probably won't see this pump sustained on crypto, in my opinion. Would you agree with me on that, or would you disagree with me on that? Oh, okay.
No, I'm going to agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Dixie, it's all about a safe trade, right? There's a lot of safe trading going on, and that's why you're seeing some of that behavior that we've been seeing since December timeframe, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, it's going to reverse. I think money's going to rotate, and I think money is going to rotate back into growth, stocks.
So look at what happened right at the time that the Fed had a meeting. Dixie just crashed. So if this continues out of this range, we probably won't see crypto pump again for a while. But if we continue to see this rolling over, if this is actually a reversal and a rollover, then I think there's a case for crypto to do pretty well in the short term. But again, dubious speculation, not financial advice, financial opinion.
Yes, but my opinion is that things are going to change. I think we're going to slowly see more talks of peace. And then I think what's going to happen is then it's going to start being risk on, right? And that's going to be, so right now it's more like a, risk on. It's going to be more of a risk on situation slowly. And then I think we're going to see all that money rotate back in. So that's why I've been really, I've been pretty confident about buying the dip.
Yeah, agreed. Is there anything you wanted to share?
Nothing more than that. I think we had a really good conversation. I mean, I think I had a chance to share all of my insights and kind of like what I see. And, like I said, there's been a lot of Bitcoins being removed off the exchanges, which is very positive. Today's announcement by the Fed Powell has been also more positive than negative. So I think right now we may see a little bit of a turn in the tide, right? So let's see how it goes. But
Yeah,
DCA.
exactly. I'm looking forward to the Vossel hard fork coming up in June. I think that's going to lead up to hopefully a run up in the price as it has in the past. If anything, if the past rhymes, then we should see something like that. Again, nobody knows, but these are just ideas. We're looking at the DXY, keeping track of that, seeing if it rolls over. Not sure at this point. It could go either way, depending on what the Fed is going to do. They still need to dump, I think, 900 billion more of their assets onto the market. Don't know what that's going to do to dollars. It may prop the dollar back up. I've seen the dollar, pop in like a 4-hour span as quickly as that drop that you saw today. So, anything could happen. It could literally just skyrocket overnight. I've seen it happen. So, looking at different macro events, confluencing with different news events within Cardano, development events within Cardano, and I'm posting all of that on my Twitter. So if you're following me on Twitter, good for you. You're done the right thing. If not, be sure to follow me and Low Fuzz Crypto on Twitter, on YouTube as well. The Cardano Guy. Go to thecardanoguy.com and you'll see the links for my Twitter and YouTube at the top there as well. Check out the merch. Doing a free raffle on t-shirts. If you follow me, be sure to turn on your notifications to get notified about free raffles for t-shirts. And that's pretty much all I have for everybody today. We'll probably wrap it up here. Low Fuss, anything?
No, I'm really looking forward to the next couple of days. Let's see how things shake out. And I have a feeling that we may speak Friday night again. I just have a feeling that maybe some other things developing. So
We'll
we'll
see.
certainly.
You know how I be. I like these random types of events. So
Let's make it. Let's do it.
we'll do it on the fly, on the cuff, the way I like doing things. So anyway, that's it. Let's wrap it up here. See you guys in the next live stream.